The flight from Washington to London was supposed to be routine calm skies, quiet passengers, and nothing out of the ordinary. But somewhere over the Atlantic, everything changed. Passengers were dozing off. Flight attendants moved softly between aisles. And in seat 12F sat a little girl, no older than 10, with a small backpack hugged tightly to her chest. She hadn't spoken a word since boarding, just stared out the window with wide, watchful eyes that seemed to hold secrets far beyond her age. The man beside her, a tired businessman, tried to smile, but she didn't respond. Instead, she whispered something under her breath, a series of numbers and letters that made no sense to anyone nearby. Moments later, the cockpit received an urgent transmission from air control, followed by a sudden alert. Two F-22 fighter jets were now tracking their plane. The captain's voice trembled slightly as he assured passengers that everything was fine. But the tension in the cabin was thick. No one understood why military jets would surround a civilian plane. Then, the little girl in 12F stood up, calm and steady, as if she knew exactly what was happening. The flight attendants froze when they heard her speak again, this time louder, clearer, using a call sign that only trained officials were supposed to know. Who was she? Why did the U.S. Air Force respond to her voice? And how could a child hold the authority to command fighter jets? The captain exchanged a nervous glance with his co-pilot as the child's calm voice echoed through the intercom, words so precise they sounded like classified codes. The passengers whispered among themselves, confusion spreading like wildfire. No one dared to approach the girl in seat 12F. She stood quietly, her small hands still clutching that worn backpack. Her gaze fixed on the window where the faint glint of the F-22 fighter jets shimmered against the clouds. A flight attendant, Emily, finally gathered the courage to kneel beside her. "Sweetheart, are you lost? Are your parents on board?" she asked gently. The girl looked at her for a long moment, then shook her head. "I'm not lost," she said softly. "They told me to wait until I heard the signal." Her words sent a chill through Emily's spine. Down in the cockpit, the pilots received new instructions, orders to maintain altitude and await further communication. The message came from a defense frequency not meant for commercial flights. The call sign matched the one spoken by the child. How could she possibly know it? Meanwhile, a man in seat 8C quietly observed everything. He hadn't taken his eyes off the girl since takeoff. He reached into his coat pocket, pulling out a small earpiece, listening to a frequency no one else could hear. When he heard the same call sign repeated through static, his expression changed from curiosity to disbelief. Whoever that girl was, she wasn't just another passenger, she was part of something much bigger. The man in seat 8's Agent Cole Mercer had been tracking strange, encrypted transmissions for weeks. Each signal carried the same mysterious call sign, believed to be connected to a classified military program, long thought to be shut down. He never expected to find the source sitting quietly on a commercial flight, disguised as an ordinary child. Cole's heartbeat quickened as he adjusted his earpiece, catching fragments of coded chatter. The frequency was live Ugandan this time. It was responding to her. Meanwhile, in the cabin, Emily tried to keep passengers calm. The captain's reassuring tone over the intercom did little to ease the growing unease. Some passengers peeked through the windows, startled to see the F-22 fighter jets maintaining a perfect formation beside them. A mother clutched her toddler closer, whispering a prayer, while a man filmed the scene on his phone, not realizing the gravity of what was unfolding. The little girl remained still, her fingers tracing invisible patterns on the seat's armrest. "They're not here for us," she murmured quietly, almost to herself. "They're protecting something." Emily knelt again, her voice trembling. "Protecting what, sweetheart?" But the child only looked down, refusing to answer. In the cockpit, the pilots received another encrypted message, this one marked top secret. It contained a single directive. *, do not engage the child in 12F. The captain's eyes widened as he read it aloud. Cole stood abruptly, his badge flashing under the cabin lights. "Everyone stay calm," he said. "We have a situation and that girl knows more than any of us." The cabin lights flickered as turbulence rocked the plane, but it wasn't from weather. The fighter jets outside had closed in, their sleek forms now clearly visible through the windows. Gasps rippled through the passengers. The captain's voice came over the intercom again, tighter this time. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. We are in communication with air control." But his tone betrayed the fear he was trying to hide. Agent Cole moved slowly down the aisle, his eyes fixed on the girl in 12F. She sat perfectly still, her calmness more unsettling than the chaos around her. Her backpack rested on her lap, and her thumb gently brushed the zipper, as if waiting for the right moment to open it. Emily stood beside Cole, whispering, "What's happening? Who is she?" He didn't answer. He was listening to the static in his earpiece, where her voice now echoed, even though her lips weren't moving. Outside, the F-22s shifted formation. A robotic voice broke through the cockpit speakers. "Code echo is active. Await further confirmation." The co-pilots exchanged terrified looks. No one on board knew what code echo meant, but the girl did. She turned toward the cockpit door, her small voice calm and certain. "They found us," she said. Cole took a cautious step closer. "Who found you?" he asked. The girl finally lifted her gaze, her eyes steady and strangely knowing. "The ones who built me," she whispered. And in that instant, every alarm in the cockpit began to scream. Before anyone could process her words, the plane's communication system went dead, completely silent. The hum of the engines was the only sound. Then, from the back of the cabin, a subtle vibration ran through the floorboards, almost like the plane itself was reacting. Passengers clutched their armrests, staring at each other in confusion and fear. Emily's hand trembled as she reached for the girl. "What's happening?" she asked, but the girl didn't answer. Agent Cole's earpiece crackled, and a new voice came through, deep, authoritative, and unfamiliar. "Identify yourself immediately. You are not cleared for this flight." Cole froze. The voice wasn't coming from the fighter jets outside, it was coming from the girl's backpack. She slowly unzipped it, revealing a small, sleek device pulsating with light. The coded call sign she had spoken earlier now radiated from it, a beacon that was apparently activating something far larger than anyone aboard realized. The fighter jets suddenly changed formation. No longer escorting, they were descending in a tactical maneuver. The captain's voice shook. "We're being locked on. All systems are showing targeting mode." Panic erupted among passengers. Cole's mind raced. Whoever built that girl or that device had designed it for far more than mere communication. The girl's eyes met Cole's, calm but resolute. "They don't know I'm human," she said softly, "and neither do you." The words hung in the air, chilling everyone in the cabin. The plane shuddered violently, alarms blaring, and the F-22's engines roared closer. It was clear now, the child in 12F wasn't just part of the mission, she was the mission. And no one on board was prepared for what was about to unfold. The plane shook violently as the fighter jets closed in, their targeting systems locked onto the mysterious signal. Passengers screamed, clutching each other, while the captain struggled to keep the aircraft steady. Agent Cole moved quickly to the girl in 12F, sensing that everything depended on her next move. She looked at him with unwavering eyes, then placed her hands on the small device in her backpack. A high-pitched hum filled the cabin, vibrating through the walls, and the F-22s paused mid-flight, as if frozen in time. The device projected a holographic map, displaying flight paths, jet positions, and encrypted military codes, all under the girl's control. Cole realized the truth. She wasn't just a passenger. She had been engineered to neutralize threats and take command if needed, a living command center hidden in plain sight. The girl spoke, her voice calm but commanding. "Disengage. They aren't a threat." The jets immediately pulled back, the pilots following her silent instructions as if compelled by an invisible authority. The plane steadied, and the cabin went silent, everyone too stunned to move. Emily knelt beside her, whispering, You saved us all." The girl nodded, a faint smile breaking through her calm exterior. Just when relief began to settle, Cole's earpiece crackled again, and a new unknown voice came through. "Code Echo acknowledged. Primary target secured, but the secondary protocol is now active." The girl's eyes widened slightly, almost imperceptibly. Cole looked at her, heart pounding. "Secondary protocol. What does that mean?" she whispered back. Outside, the sky darkened unnaturally, and the faint outline of more unknown aircraft appeared on the horizon. The plane was safe for now, but it was clear this was only the beginning of a far larger mission, and the real challenge was yet to come. The tension slowly began to ease as the F-22s receded into the distance, leaving the commercial plane in calm skies once more. Passengers, still shaken, started whispering among themselves, realizing they had just witnessed something extraordinary. The little girl in 12F returned to her seat, her backpack now closed, as if nothing had happened. Emily placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, smiling through her tears. "You're a hero," she said softly. The girl simply nodded, her eyes reflecting both relief and the weight of responsibility she carried. Agent Cole stayed close, keeping a careful watch. He now understood that the girl had been part of a secret program and experiment designed to integrate human intelligence with advanced military technology. She had been trained, or perhaps engineered, to respond to threats that no ordinary person could handle. But despite her abilities, she was still a child, and the weight of the world had been resting on her small shoulders. The captain finally addressed the cabin, his voice calm but firm. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have regained normal flight conditions. There is no immediate danger. We will continue to our destination safely." Relief rippled through the passengers, though no one would forget the strange, heroic child who had commanded fighter jets with nothing more than her voice. As the plane cruised smoothly toward London, Cole glanced at the girl one last time. She smiled faintly, almost knowingly, and whispered, "There will be more, but we'll be ready." The passengers, unaware of the larger mission, looked out at the clouds, feeling both awe and hope. Some heroes are quiet, some heroes are hidden in plain sight. Today, everyone on board had witnessed one of them.